Five, four, three, two, one. This is the Jazz 08, also known as Jeremy the Jai Guillory. Back here with Bobby Knows. Um, Veto resolution looks a little choppy today. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe my connection, maybe his. I'm not sure. But today we are going to be talking about Umaga, um, Eddie Fatu. Um, is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, what do you remember most about Umaga?
What was the 3 minute warning? I remember he was one of those guys, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yes, he was
Yes.
started out as a member of the 3 minute warning, and then he um, left the company for about 2, maybe 3 years. Went to TNA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, came back as the Samoan Bulldozer Umaga.
Well,
And
I was excited. I was excited when Umaga came in. You know, I was looking at all the potential matches that could happen. I
yeah,
wanted to see him and the Undertaker, and unfortunately, we didn't get to see that match. And
no,
I don't think they faced. If they did, I don't. I can't find the match. But him and the Undertaker was like that should have been an awesome match, and it didn't happen.
yeah,
But I liked his match with Batista and Bobby Lashley at WrestleManias. I
yeah,
like how him and Triple H had a feud at No Mercy 2007. You know, there's just a lot of things about Umaga that there was a lot of stuff there. I think he had a great career and probably needs to get more. You know, because he was in the billionaire hair versus hair match. You know, the billionaire
definitely.
match, and that's a pretty big moment in pro wrestling, especially with Trump as the president now.
I know, I know. It was a really big match even back then. Um, and I do remember most of his matches. I know that he did have a good feud with John Cena at one time. John Cena's doing his retirement match
Yes,
later on today. So shout out to him. Um, I would have loved to bring um, members of the Anawani family on to talk about Umaga as well for this. But unfortunately, most of them that I had contacts with were all busy for today. Um, so I don't know if it's just because of it being Saturday Night Main Event or just talking to them at the very last minute. But
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, on back to Umaga real quick. Um, so his career, I believe, was not even 10 years or so. Do you know how long he wrestled
No.
for? So he started wrestling professionally in 1995.
Oh, so he had a good 15-year career, 14, 15 years.
Yeah, yes. And he's trained with his cousin Matt, also known as Rosie. And he had debuted in his uncle Alpha's World Extreme Wrestling promotion. And then in 2001, he signed with WWE as WWF at the time with Rosie to do the 3 minute warning. They did it for 2 years, and then he went
That
on
was
to
cool. I
TNA.
love 3 minute warning. No, that was good. I thought it was an Eric Bischoff creation. I could be wrong.
Yeah, the 3 minute warning um, thing was a wild thing that was created. Then they got involved with Eric Bischoff, and he would always say, "Well, you said 3 minutes, 3 minutes," and they
I
would come
remember that.
out.
I love that.
Yeah, Yeah.
I think they debuted against Goldberg, if I remember right. I think
Uh,
Goldberg was their first guy that they attacked.
in the main promotion, probably. Um, so they
Believe
started
so.
out in um, the developmental territory at first, and then they went on to the main Raw roster by 2002. Um, had a feud with the looks like D'Lo Brown and Sean Stasiak. Um,
Probably Sunday Night Heat.
yeah, yeah. Um, supposedly attacked Lillian Garcia, Jimmy Snuka, Mae Young, Fabulous Moolah, in notable events. They broke up a wedding at one time. I believe it was Billy and Chuck's wedding.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I remember that.
yeah, yeah. And then he got released, went to TNA for a couple years. Really didn't do much there. Then signed with All Japan Pro Wrestling and finally came back to WWE in 2005. Debuted as Umaga, and that began a legendary solo career that people still talk to this day about. Um,
He had a cool manager. It was like a Cuban manager. What was his
yeah,
name? I can't remember.
uh,
He had a really cool manager that came out with him.
Alejandro Estrada.
Yeah, that's why I can't remember his name. I just
Yeah,
can't remember how to say it.
yeah, yeah,
He was
and
a cool manager, and he looked like he had done it before, but I don't remember him before Umaga. But
yeah.
he was smooth and professional. We need to give him props, man. He made
He
Umaga look
really sold
even
it.
better.
Yeah, and Umaga
Yes, he did.
first debuted by attacking Ric Flair, which was even more iconic to make him show that he meant business. And
It,
he,
it, it was almost like Rikishi, uh, but like a more extreme version of Rikishi. And I hate to say it, I actually prefer the Umaga character, over Rikishi. Umaga was like that extra. I don't know how to explain it. More, like I said, more extreme Rikishi kind of wrestler.
yeah, yeah.
That
So
was cool. It was good.
yeah. So when it comes to Umaga and his finishing move was the Samoan Spike. Um,
Yes.
so with the Samoan Spike, we all knew that he taped up his arm and his thumb and just spiked him with his thumb. And every time I saw it, I was like, man, that's got to really nearly dislocate his thumb or something without all that padding there. But when he was part of the 3 minute warning, did he use the Samoan Spike or did he come up with that when he became Umaga?
I don't. They did the body splash off the top rope that I remember. I don't remember them using that spike. If he did, I didn't pay attention to it. But I
Yeah,
know another wrestler nowadays that's pretty big. What's his name? He runs with Roman Reigns. He used it on Cody Rhodes
Solo.
at Wrestle. Yeah, is it pretty much the same move or
Yeah,
is it different?
it's the exact same move. That
Yeah,
is his
exactly.
nephew that does it.
Yeah, yeah. You could kind of say that
Yeah,
pays homage or
yeah,
memorial to Umaga.
yeah,
I'm gonna say he's a legend. I mean, he's gonna go down.
yeah,
It was good heel versus John Cena. I really wish we could have seen the Undertaker and Umaga. For some reason, we didn't get to see that. That's the match that I
yeah,
wish we would have had.
yeah. I'm sad that we didn't see it um, in time. I think there was a little teaser for it at one time. I'm not quite sure, but he unfortunately got released in 2009 due to drug related issues, fell in a wellness policy for it. Was in talks of coming back for the Royal Rumble, but of course he passed away December of 2009. Um, so
Right.
there's different stories out there as to what went on between his release and his passing, um, that I've heard of. That he was trying to train to get back into WWE. He did a last show with Hulk Hogan's cruise ship, I believe it was. Um, so he was
Yeah, the Hulkamania tour in
the
Australia. Umaga was
right,
on that. Yes.
right, wrestling. In his final match was against, ironically, Mr. Kennedy himself, Mr. Anderson, um, that people did not really know that much about, because it really
Uh,
wasn't that advertised, really. Uh,
Mr. Anderson, interesting. Didn't
yes,
know that.
yes. But
Yeah, I got a theory. I got a theory.
yeah,
Um, he was probably going to end up going over to TNA with Hogan if if he would have kept if things would have went on, and you would have seen a Samoa Joe versus Umaga feud, which would have been huge for TNA at the time. That would
right.
have been a big match. I mean, that would have been a fan match I would want to see Samoa Joe versus Umaga. That would have been awesome. In 2010.
Yeah,
If that's what I see happening if he would have went over. Then he would have had Kurt Angle and Umaga. I think if he would have went on to TNA, we got the fans, we got robbed of some great matches, and TNA really might have done great things for Umaga. That would have been awesome when Hogan was there. If he would have had someone like Umaga, an extra asset to TNA, great matches that would have went down. That would have been awesome.
definitely, definitely. His last match was actually on November 28th, 2009. Um, so, and he was in talks with WWE to return at the Royal Rumble. I'm not sure exactly what he would have done at the Royal Rumble, if he was going to return full time or just make a real quick cameo appearance, at that time. Um,
Well, they would want him back naturally because they for some reason I think worried about him going to
to
TNA. You could say
Yeah,
they didn't worry, but I think there was concern. I'm telling you, him and the Samoa. I'm a conspiracy guy,
yeah,
and the Samoa Joe feud would have been huge for TNA with
yeah,
Umaga.
yeah. Now, um, on to talking about his passing. Um, it was late in 2009. Um, I was thinking at the time, I was thinking he was just out with an injury at the time. Just scrolling down news feeds, run into some, Umaga passing away, and it was pretty much like a day before SmackDown or something. And I'm thinking, okay, well, WWE is going to acknowledge it. We're going to at least have um, that closure with Umaga and things. It's sad. They said that he died of a heart attack at that time. They did not really say anything about any prescription drugs, or anything like that at that specific moment, because they did not do much of the autopsy. They just said that he was found unresponsive at his home. So SmackDown comes down, no mention. I watched the entire show. They didn't even mention him. Raw comes on that Monday. Nothing comes on. Look on their website. Nothing's mentioned. And I'm like, well, this is odd. Why wouldn't they mention him? And
Well,
um, there's about two or three theories as to why it was. One of them is that because of um, the manner that he passed away, management had already knew about what happened, and they decided not to dig it into any more worse than what it was already going to be. At that point, two was that supposedly Vince McMahon did not know about it at all till it was weeks later, and it was already too late for them to actually acknowledge it, or that there was some kind of beef or feud going on between them that they just did not want to acknowledge him at that time. So I'm going to say is that as far as that goes, we're just probably never going to know as to why WWE did not formally acknowledge his passing.
I
Um,
think, I mean, like I said, I don't want to sound crazy, but I'm a conspiracy guy, and I really think there was a concern because obviously McMahon was worried about Hogan going to TNA so much that he brought Bret Hart back when Hogan debuted at TNA. So
yeah,
obviously there's proof that he was concerned about some of these wrestlers going over to TNA, and the Umaga Samoa Joe match just looked like a fan favorite.
yeah,
And it's just convenient how it works out in WWE's favor that that match did not happen. If they
yeah,
were contacting him back for the Royal Rumble, a lot of it probably had to do with concern that he was going to TNA. And I think
yeah,
he still would have went to TNA because he was already in business with Hogan.
yeah,
You know, my conspiracies are not my is not fact. I just
yeah,
the timing is too convenient right before Hogan goes to TNA. And
yeah,
I bet TNA was in contacts with him as well. And something happened. Something happened. I just the world, you know, it was he also went to Australia and you don't know if he caught something over there on the travel when he
yeah,
was coming back, you know. There's just a
yeah,
lot of theories out there.
yeah, yeah. So have you seen the video of his son talking about the day that he passed away?
No, I haven't. I seen
Okay.
a couple of things about it, but
Yeah.
he had, you know, the name Umaga. When you hear that name, no
Yeah.
matter how big Umaga got in wrestling, when you hear that name, even if you're not a wrestling fan, you're like, I know that name somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
something's made you catch that name, and I think that name was a big. I think that name alone will carry him on because when you say that Umaga, they're like, "Who is Umaga?" You know, bam. You
Yeah.
know, that's a big name.
Yeah.
That's a catchy name, and it's a rememberable name.
No
You
one's going
know,
to
and
remember Eddie Fatu. No one's going to remember Jamal, but everyone's going to remember Umaga.
Umaga, right?
Yes.
Powerful,
Yes.
very powerful name. Could you imagine him and Roman Reigns? I just think
Definitely.
that during the time, uh, the booking, his booking could have been better. Like I
Yeah.
said, I would have went with the Undertaker and Umaga for WrestleMania. But you know, that's neither here nor there. That's in the
Yeah.
past. But that's
Yeah.
the match I wanted to see. Umaga and the Undertaker. Umaga and Batista was great too, but I wish we
Yeah.
could have seen the Undertaker in Umaga.
Yeah. There are so many matches that he did throughout his career. Um, during that short career with WWE, there at that time, all the way down to his passing, that I would just have to look up and say, well, did he have a match with Edge? Did he have a match with this person? You know, did he have a match with CM Punk at this point? You know, there's so many matches, dream matches that he would have had good chemistry with that it just feels like either they were he was just gone too soon or was just not really there. And imagine if he was around today, what all he would be doing with WWE today. Now,
Well, like I said, I was naturally impressed with his manager. I had
yeah,
never seen his manager before, but he had like this smooth professionalism. Like man, I've done this before. And that really, his
yeah,
manager's confidence really caught my eye. Even as a fan.
yeah,
And then Umaga was a natural heel draw. It was a natural sell. And when you look at, Rikishi gave us the comic laughs, but he didn't really have that extra hill angle, even though he did
yeah,
a hill with Austin. And even Yokozuna being the big guy, no matter how big of a heel Yokozuna was, you couldn't look past the fact that he's a big guy. But
yeah,
Umaga had this heel draw that was like, I don't know, almost like a Yokozuna on Vampire. It was like Count Dracula meets Yokozuna, like
yeah,
a vampire kind of Yokozuna guy,
yes,
and it was awesome. It was a great deal. I I miss. I remember watching it like yesterday when Umaga debuted, and like I
yeah,
said, the manager wore orange and that white hat, and he had that Cuban rhythm. Man,
yes,
dude, it was a great sell, and I know TNA would have been awesome with that if they could have get those two guys together over there. But I don't know if he could
definitely.
have used the Umaga name in TNA. I'm assuming he could. Not really sure, but the name says it all. Umaga.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And as you said before, so many of his family now uses his finisher. Solo Sikoa uses it. His son
Yeah,
Zilla,
and those guys are getting big matches, but do you
definitely.
really think they're going to stand out like Umaga does? I mean, think about it. Maybe I don't want to, but these guys are in big matches. They're at WrestleMania, and we might still remember them in 5 or 10 years. But
Yeah,
Umaga stands out, dude. Umaga,
definitely.
Umaga is definitely bragging rights for the Nona family or Roman. I mean, it's just he's up there with Yokozuna, man.
Yeah,
Yokozuna, Umaga, they're icons, man.
yeah,
To me, the name Umaga says it all, and that's gonna.
yeah,
He was a natural heel, man. He was a great heel, and
definitely.
I hate that the wrestling business had to lose him that early.
Exactly, exactly. One of my conversations with Rosie when he worked at one of my friends as a promotion um, would be, who was your favorite tag team who was your favorite tag team partner of all time? Because he worked with a lot of tag teams before.
He worked with what's his face,
Shane
Hurricane
Helms,
Helms as
yes,
well.
yes. Now you would expect him to say Hurricane Helms. Hurricane Helms is a number two for him. Number one is Eddie. He said, "It'd be my cousin Eddie, man, Eddie Fatu. If you don't remember us from 2 minute, 3 minute warning, go YouTube that shit. You know, he loved his cousin that much, and Roman misses him too, as well. Um,
Yeah,
so
him and Roman Reigns would have been a great feud, great
yeah,
match. There's another dude. What's that guy's name? I know who he is. I just off the top of my head, he just came this past year or two. What's what is his name? One of the families. So it's not Solo. It's not Roman Reigns. But what's that other guy? He's a big guy. Looks like he's got a bright future. He always has his tongue hanging out. What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. Oh man, I
uh,
don't know. I'll have to look him up. It's the
is it the
Umaga
tall?
looking guy.
Is it the tall guy or um, I think I know who you're talking about. He used to be part of the Bullet Club. Also worked in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah, so yeah, with Umaga not going to the Hall of Fame, saying that it's not been the right time and things. I think last year they had about what, four people go in. Um, and of course, every year now they're saying, well, Umaga may go in, and I'm hopeful for it. I really am hopeful um, for it to go for him to go into the hall soon. Um, but yeah, you said that Lex Luger finally got in. Um, I'm not sure if it was because of his injuries and him healing up was the reason why. I don't know if Triple H had anything to do with that, bringing him in to the hall. Um, but it's going to be interesting to see when he goes in finally. Um,
Yeah, him and Psycho Sid, Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious is probably the biggest wrestler I could think of that's not yet in the Hall of Fame. He needs to be in there,
yeah,
and Umaga's one of them. And I'm assuming John Tenta's in there.
Sin,
Earthquake's already in there. So I'm a big Earthquake
yeah,
fan. You know, some of these wrestlers, dude, like, I don't know. Is Rick Rude in there? I think
yes,
Rude's in
he
there.
is.
Rick Rude and Kurt Hennig.
He finally got
Man, dude,
in.
them guys are just, them are from a whole different world, man. And
Yeah,
Umaga's one of those guys, too.
yeah,
Umaga, yeah, Umaga, I think Vader got in. Pretty sure, I remember him talking about Vader.
yeah. He got
But
in.
Umaga needs to go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Bam Bam Bigelow, is he in?
I
They
don't
got to
think
put in Bam Bam, man.
I don't think Bam's in. I know Big Boss Man is in. Um,
Yes, Big Boss
so
Man. Bam Bam should definitely be in there, man. People don't, not to change the subject from Umaga, but people don't give Bam Bam the credit, man. If you ever get a chance, if you haven't watched it already, go back and watch the first Survival series, him and Andre the Giant, how that could have went
yeah,
so the other way. If Bam Bam would have won that Survival series match, man, oh man, things could have
yeah,
been totally different, you know, in the business.
yeah,
Yeah, Umaga will get in there, man. I have, especially with John Cena coming up on retirement, I think this could be the WrestleMania we see Umaga go in. It could be, and he'll get in there.
yeah.
His
Uh,
people will make sure.
yeah. What do you think that our show next week should be about?
Let's see what happens with John Cena.
Yeah,
Pick another wrestler to talk about. I'm gonna
yeah,
say Bam Bam Bigelow, brother. Let's do some studying on him. Let's talk
yeah.
about Bam Bam Bigelow. I love that
Good.
guy, man.
Definitely, definitely. So yeah, we can definitely
But
put.
I'll let you pick. I'll let you pick who you want to talk about. But I'm throwing Bam Bam Bigelow in there or Vader, both of them.
Definitely. Yeah, we will take a look at all of the options that we have there. We will. I will put Bam Bam and Vader in on the selection, into the hat. See what it draws up, and see what we have available for next week. Definitely. The week after looks like it's going to be the Christmas holidays. So, um, depending
I'm
on
probably going to
what's,
be in the ring. I'm probably going to be wrestling on the 27th. So if
yeah,
you do video, we do this. I might be at a show, but I can still make the show happen.
yeah,
I can do your show at that show.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what's going to happen on the 27th or 28th right now. Everything's up in the air with me, personally, with some other things that are going on right now.
Okay.
We're just going to have to see how things play out with certain things during that time, um, and see what all happens.